So today, for part 2 of Back to School, I want to talk to you about elementary school. So when I think about that, I think of independence, right? These children are going back to school, into elementary school, and they're learning how to be more independent. The other day I was in the store and they had a little girl ask her dad. She was like, "Dad, do you think 4th grade is going to be hard?" And y'all, he encouraged her. And I thought, my God, like, she's worried. She's having some anxiety, right? Because she don't know what to expect. She had a little fear of thinking like it's going to be so hard. And he totally encouraged her. And I was like, "You go, Dad." I was like, I started to walk over there, but I was like, let me mind my little business. Already ear hustling. But anyway, I think of independence and I think about us, right? We can be so independent in our lives that we depend more on ourselves than we do on God. And that is not the way that it's supposed to be. And we just have to be honest with ourselves. Let me be honest. I'm that person. Like, my independence, right? I can remember, like, in my first marriage, he didn't want me to work for a short period of time. And so it was like, I was like, oh my God, because I've always worked. And so when I stopped working, because trying to be a submissive wife or whatever, things did not work out well financially. So I went back to work, needless to say. But I think back of like how I was able to bounce back after being divorced multiple times, how I was able to bounce back. But then I remember my mom telling me one day, she said, "Shalonda, you have to let go of your independence sometimes because men need to feel needed. They need to feel that you need them in their lives, And I'm like, yeah, I get it. I do want a man to take care of me. I do need a man to take care of me because I'm tired of taking care of them. But, ultimately, honestly, it's like, I get that, But on the same side, I'm kind of like, but can they? Because that's not the experiences that I've had. But I do understand that. But when I think back even to my independence, I guess I would say, it can hinder me sometimes because I would want to control everything that's going on. And God does not operate that way. And sometimes I feel like that's where I hit bumps in the road because I'm like, I'm so independent. I got to do this. I got to do that. I got to do this. I got to do that. I'm so fixed on like, what you gonna do next? What you gotta do? But this is what you gotta do. This is what you gotta do. Instead of putting God in his proper place, which is first. Not me. What God gonna do? It's kind of like remove self out of the equation and say, okay, God, what are you going to do about this situation? Instead of us using our independence to always try to figure it out. Because when I know for me speaking personally, when I'm always trying to figure it out, I jack stuff up, right? I mean, maybe it's just me, but a lot of times I make those wrong decisions and then I'm back to where I started. But if we as a people can learn to put God in his proper place, which is first, ultimately that is where our dependence should lie on. But we have to let go of some of that independence and allow God to be God in our lives. So my question to you would be, have you let go of some of that independence yet to allow God to be where he needs to be in your life, which is first? That's your food for thought. Because if he's not first, we say he's first all the time, but when we're making decisions, do we ultimately always go to God first and say, God, do you want me to go to this store? Do you want me to go to that store? No, we just go to the store. God, is it okay for me to go buy me a new dress today? God, who would you like me to call today? God, we have to learn to be intentional instead of always, okay, I'm in this bump, in this crucial financial situation, instead of, man, let me go get this job or get another job or get 2 jobs and stuff like that. But instead, do we seek him first? Because if it's all about us and our independence and what I need to do, we ultimately are not putting God first. And, maybe I'm speaking to just me and sharing with y'all my heart, because that's something that I do need to do better at, is letting go of that independence and completely trusting that God will never let me go without. He loves us too much, to do that. I'm his child, you know what I'm saying? So, like, he's going to take better care of me and you than you can ever do for yourself. So my encouragement to you today would be, let's learn to let go of some of that independence and always trying to figure it out and allow God time to figure it out. Amen? Amen. So I leave you with this. Philippians 2 and verse 12. And it says, wherefore, my beloved, as ye have always obeyed, not as in my presence only, but now much more in my absence, work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. So before I go, I just want to remind you, if you haven't already, check out my website at www.talkswithshay.org. You can subscribe to my videos on YouTube and find me on Facebook. Like my page, share my page, invite your friends to like my page. And until next time with Talks with Shay, Shay is out. Y'all stay blessed.